everyone, and welcome to another episode of Derry Wise, or Penny
Those
Cast,
Derry
as it is
cast.
called. Derry Cast. I am your host, Dana, joined by Mr. Danny Martinez, who wants to just know what's in the box.
Which I know, but that was my first thought when I first saw the scene, so I thought it was a funny little seven joke.
It was a funny seven joke, and also a wonderful, what was it? Doctor Sleep reference,
Yeah.
because we all know about keeping it in the box, keeping it locked, keeping it safe. So, yay! All I wanted was an appearance by whatchamaface. I forgot his name already, but then I realized he was an adult Danny, and it's not time for him yet.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it's not time for Obi yet. Obi would still be a little tiny kid running around in the hotel of The Shining. No, before
Well, no, he's
they're
not
not at
even
the
born
hotel
yet.
yet. He's not born yet. No, I think he's born. Could he be born? No, he's not born. The point is, I love the connection. So now we see The Shining, the gifts, the box, everything, and we got our penny. We didn't get a shadow of a penny. We didn't get scrunched up in a picture. We got Penny and his full lives. So there's a lot to discuss with that. I am your host, Dana, as I already said, joined by Danny, featuring Penny, because Penny. So, what were your immediate reaction to this episode? Because I was like, we're finally going somewhere.
Yeah, we talked about the previous episodes, and I oh, you lost me.
I lost
We
you.
talked about I hope you guys still hear me. You hear me good. You hear me right?
There
Yeah,
we go.
yes. Okay.
Yes.
We talked about the previous episodes and how I felt like it was in a downward spiral. Like anticipation wise, graphic wise, story's still there. Story was still good. But this one kind of just brought it back up again. I really loved it. This is probably one of the best episodes since the first episode, or even the second episode. So I really enjoyed this one, and the whole Pennywise reveal was probably one of the biggest, coolest things that they did so far with Pennywise in general. And the way he turned out, and the way he hunted what's her name in the sewers and stuff, and just the reveal in general with Lily, and then the twist of just him being Matty. I honestly didn't see that coming. I thought there was just like, oh yeah, how convenient, Matty's alive, and he's gonna show him where what the kids are, and that's just lazy writing. And then the twist happens. I was like, oh, that was really good.
I will say it. I thought it was Matty. I wanted it to be Matty so much. I'm like, he escaped. He looks terrible. He's really selling this. Yay. And I was like, oh, and the other kid, like someone else is alive. We saw the ones who are dead, but we finally got someone else who's alive who can corroborate the story. It really probably wouldn't matter because the adults are still under the spell. But at least we know that Matty is alive. This is the entire reason why we're here. And he crawled back to them, remember? And he kept saying, don't bring me to my daddy. Don't let my father know.
Yeah.
Or the cops. And I actually believe that because we knew his father to be. That was the whole reason as to why he was leaving Derry. He couldn't deal with his father anymore. And the cops would just bring him back. Because also, this is 1950s. They're not there for all that, child abuse and feelings and everything else. So they would automatically bring him back to the father. And so I was fully invested in this story when it turned out to actually be Pennywise. This is what I mean. Penny and Freddy are on like the same level when it comes to these jokes that they have. They will play in your face and then kill you. You're talking about, you need fear in order to like make the meat all nice and sweet and tender. I think it's also playing these jokes as well. Because that to me is just extra seasoning.
Yeah,
when you got
it still adds to the fear.
It still adds to the fear, but the fact the way how they're being teased is just so cold-blooded. It's just mean at this point, where it's like beating the dead horse, but you got to tenderize the horse meat, and that's what he's doing. So, yeah, this was absolutely one of the best reveals that I think that there was, and they're in his domain. They're in his home. We've seen them travel to their home, but him being in his home, to me, I thought it was like, oh, he has the upper hand with this now. So this is going to be absolutely hilarious. So, what were your thoughts? Kind of going back, and we'll talk about the home base a little bit. When we started off, he's done him being what was it, Halloran? Is done massaging brains. He has the direction of where Penny is, and we're expecting this big showdown. We wanted this showdown because we know the strength that his character brings, and we know the strength that Pennywise brings. So, what was your thought on kind of this opening of discovering where Penny's home was? Because I was expecting Firefly Funhouse, which is a WWE
reference. Wrestling reference might go over most people's heads. It was a nice call back to the movies, showing the house. I kind of don't think it makes sense very much because it's a city sewer system, and you're telling me there's only one entrance. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm sure there's multiple entrances, but I guess they just wanted to have it, a callback to the house. So this is like the main hub. This is the center of it in order for you to get to all these pieces and such. So it was nice, but I don't know if it was necessary for the house to be visited just because it's like the central hub. There are a million other places and other ways to enter a sewer system. And I think the military should know that, being as smart as they are, quote unquote, because they're the intelligence of the country. So yeah, strange, but it was still cool. It was nice to see the house. It was nice to see the well. We know what happens in that well and in the house in general. So it was just a nice homage.
I thought it was a really nice homage. And remember, and then we'll kind of go about with this later on. There is that forced way of tying everything back to the movies. So of course we would have that one direct sewer system with that kind of one house thing. So I'm not I don't know how Derry works or operates. I'm not a part of like a city thing, but I thought there would be a little bit more, when it came to sewer systems. But I wasn't mad about it.
Yeah.
I felt like sometimes things just have to be convenient to move a story forward. True. So I was fine with that. And I was fine with using like that as an Easter egg, like look at the house and look at the sewer system. So to me, it didn't bother me so much with that. And it just made it like the anticipation just a little bit more because we already know what happens within that house. We already know what happens within that sewer system. But I am someone who's like, okay, how do we change it? How do we flip it a little bit? And I think that they did a really great job with that, especially when it came to that reveal. Another big thing that we have is Marge and Lily. They have like these little side. I love how they're doing like main quests, but there are several side quests at the same thing.
Yeah.
So we do have Marge and Lily. They're friends again, despite that she has no eye. And she was like, "Lo, look." She made sure that she protected Lily, which was something I'm kind of wondering Lily was incapable of doing when it came to Ronnie and her dad. But at the same time, it's like, well, she was being blackmailed and she's still only like around 10, 12. But
yeah, that's still a bit different.
Way,
different situations.
Yeah, it's a wee bit different to you involving adults and everything. But I like the fact that Marge and Lily are friends and retain their friendship, and she covered for her. I expected the eye situation to be a lot more brutal, but it's not so much. You got a little Popeye patch on. So what did you think about not only just that in general with the friendship, but she covered for her, and now Lily, is not going to be confined to this crazy hospital.
Yeah, and I said that in our last review episode. It would make no sense for Marge to not say something because, like, she saw her eyes pop out, and why would she blame Lily for that? Even if she thought she was going crazy, and Lily was, quote unquote, the one that did it, why would she think that she did it when she saw these weird things, the freaking snail eyes? So it was nice that they confirmed that, she protected Lily. They're friends now. I guess you could just now she's a part of the group, the old losers club. I wouldn't say new because the new one would technically be the movies. You know, they're back together.
It can be new. Each club is new unless you go back to the very, very beginning of time. So I think it's more because we're experiencing it, even though we know of the old. That's the old one. The next one to come.
So I guess. I mean, because they're not calling themselves the Loser Club. They did in the movies, but not the show. Which actually would have been funny. Like they could have been like a club that nobody knows about until it just actually happens, and then just happen to call each other losers. I think that would have been cool. But yeah, the introduction of Marge being in it, and I kind of like the dynamic with her, with everybody else being wary of her because of her, you know, being one of the popular girls, or used to be anyways. So I'm wondering if they're going to touch on that more, or that one little confrontation that they had on the rooftop was the only thing we're going to see when it comes to like her being a patty cake, and that's it, and then just not going to touch on it anymore. I want to see more of it. I want to see more conflict with that.
I'm still waiting for the downfall of patty cakes. That is something.
Yeah.
I just want that, and I want it to be nice and violent. Because Patty, you deserve it.
I feel like it's gonna be therapeutic, kind of like with that I can't remember his name, but the boy, the bully in the movies, when he finally got his Cummins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna feel nice, hopefully.
I completely agree with that. Oh, my big thing, my question, kind of moving on with we're bouncing over places. Not Halloran. Hannah. Yes, Hanlon. Hanlon realized that he was being used for a tool, even though we knew.
Yeah.
He realized that. He is very upset about that, and the fact that Shaw purposely moved him to Derry, knowing that danger could wait.
Mm-hmm.
Black people and people of color always use as somebody's tool against something, and their lives are not mattered in that situation. Do you think that Hanlon, whatever the man name is, should have done something more instead of allow himself to continue to be used as a tool? Because that was my frustration.
What do you mean by more? What do you think he should have done?
That I don't know. Protest, refuse not to do it anymore. Pack up, leave, even though a court martial could pop
off. So that's the issue. So I can see this, being a military person myself. I can see this in the military mindset of you don't want to get yourself into deep trouble, not only just for yourself. He may be righteous enough to maybe sacrifice himself and not care for like a court martial or ruin his life, but he's got a family that would ruin his family as well. So I, in that mindset of just like, you have to, I myself have talked back to my superiors before, and maybe sometimes they get a slap on the wrist, sometimes they get a write up. So it's not like you can't talk back and question your superiors, which he does very clearly. But in the end, he follows his orders, and that's what you're expected to do. So that's exactly what he does, is that he questions things, he gets an attitude, he tells them they're wrong, but in the end, you got to do what you got to do because that's your position in the military, and that's it. And even back then, it was a way more stricter than it was during my time and the time even now. So who knows what mess he would have put himself in if he tried to protest or bring it to the news or whatever it might be.
Do you know what that backlash would look like because you have experience
with his family?
Yeah, like with his family, like he could get in trouble, but can they touch his family?
No, they can't touch their family. But I mean, if he's getting court-martialed, he's getting kicked out the military. You lose out on benefits. The family's not going to get any income. They're not going to get free housing or free schooling or whatever the case may be that the military offers. So all of that's gone. So now they're just on their own and possibly even in debt if all that income is gone and all those benefits are gone. So now you're left to do this with two parents that have no job and possibly the father being in jail because of it. Your life's ruined.
See, Mr. Expert right there, Mr. Danny Martinez. We brought him in as a consultant. for our Pennywise show.
This whole time, that's all I was here for.
That's all he was here for this entire time. Nobody cares about anything else. What were your thoughts on? We're going to Shawshank, or at least we thought we were getting glimpses of more of Shawshank Prison. I wonder if we get to see inside of prison. But that was a very interesting interaction where we got a little Pennywise smile from the cop.
Yeah.
Like, yay, I love racism. Eat it up. Yeah, so Hank, not Hank, is it Hank? It is Hank. Hank is basically, going to Shawshank. He is still like being framed for the murder of all these children, which of course adds into black people always being framed innocently and a white mob standing right there beside him. Charlotte watches everything and she's kind of helpless at this point. She can't really do anything, but we do know, and it kind of it doesn't make me wonder. We know that Penny is helping to orchestrate this.
Yeah.
To bring him down.
Yeah.
Which kind of was like, oh, okay, added conflict. Does that add more seasoning to the meat? But he's always a little chaos guy over there. It was really interesting that they would show that. I'm starting to wonder, I feel like we're getting little snippets of his what's going on. Do you wish we would have stayed on that more? Or was perfectly fine because the main focus is the kids? I don't know who's the lead. There's so many things happening. What's really is it more just what the kids are doing that is the lead?
No, I think the focuses plural are doing just fine. I don't think there's so much you can do with Hank other than, build up more tension on him possibly being incarcerated and blamed for everything, and then hopefully exonerated by the end of the season in some way. I think it's more of a good use now, anyways, for character development for Charlotte and her, virtuism and her trying to help her people and this how messed up this town is and stuff. And hopefully it reveals something like maybe Charlotte in the end finds out what the town is really about. With everything going on and her husband's out and about doing stuff too. So maybe she's going to find out through him. And then she's kind of just like, okay, well, maybe, this monster's involved in it, because now she's seen Pennywise. She saw that smiling cop. And I would think that's a hint of suspicion of something weird going on.
That's the thing. We've seen a lot of smilation, and when it came to history, very cruel things happen. There is a photo of like a postcard that they used to have of the past where a group of white people, the mob would be sitting there smiling and cheering, and if you look in the back of them are black men that are lynched. That's kind of what that represented to me. And so I don't think it would necessarily for her be like there's an entity, unless the entity is just straight up racism, which is a whole conversation.
I don't think her instant reaction is, oh my God, that's a monster, or that's a ghost, or like that's something supernatural. I just think that that's just an inkling of something to get the ball rolling. I agree. She could probably think it's just something as simple as that. And that's how she could have taken it. But you can clearly see Pennywise has a very specific smile, and then the way he shows his teeth. So imagine she saw this cop doing that, and then imagine maybe later on she sees like a picture, or she actually sees Pennywise, or she sees or she hears a description of Pennywise, like from the kids or whatever it might be. So maybe she can put two and two together, and that's how it starts to develop into something more. Because I don't think she has seen Pennywise at all in any form. And the same thing goes with Hanlon. I think Hanlon has seen the red balloons, and that's it. So now it seems like things are starting to increase when it comes to sightings, especially for the adults.
And not even the kids up until this point, because all they saw was that shattering figure.
Yeah.
It looked like Krusty the Clown.
Yeah.
So this was kind of like the big reveal, I think, in general, especially for the kids. Which, yay, we finally got something. But yeah, no, I agree with you in that aspect. So now we have Tanya, who I thought was going to be a throwaway character. We massage his brain, and that's the end of it. Tanya is actually being used as like a He has the dagger, which we all know from the previous episode what that means. It could stop Penny in his tracks, and we kind of saw that, which was like, oh, that was kind of anticlimactic, but he could stop him in his tracks. And so Taniel actually becomes now an important character. But before we get to Taniel, not Hank, the show has his memories back. All 45 years that just magically disappeared came rushing to him in a moment where he has his memories back.
That was lazy writing, by the way.
I hated that with every heart of my soul. Yeah. I wanted to see that moment. I wanted to feel his reaction to remembering everything that happened. And it was just a simple, basic throwaway conversation.
It was a throwaway conversation. And the thing is, I don't even like the reasoning behind it too. He was like, oh, I was experimented on. They gave me something, and all of a sudden I remembered everything. How convenient. And then they just moved on.
I hated that aspect. And the fact that he even said that, and the fact that I hated Rose's reaction, because it was like, okay, take Daniel. Yeah, here's a dagger. Like you 45 years you remember. He didn't remember. Now he's coming to you saying, I remember everything, and it's like, okay, cool. Like I don't know what I'm supposed. To me, Rose feels like someone who's just there as a plot device.
Yes. Yeah.
And like, oh yeah, and then the Native Americans, and then this happened. Okay, so she's just there for that story.
You would think with such a connection with these two kids, and they experience things together, and somewhat, a love interest in a way. Whether they're married now or not, you can still like play a little bit of romantic tension between the two, or in some sort of way, as childhood like loves or even just friends. Who cares? But there's just nothing. It's almost like you're like they just know, like it's like either they feel like they just known each other for 5 years, and it's just like, oh hey, what's up, how you doing? Hey, remember when this happened? Cool, this is why I'm here, and then kind of just move on from that. Like there's no there doesn't feel any connection between the two at all.
There's no chemistry at all, period. Even between them, it's like two random strangers. Here's the script, go read the lines and start scene. I don't feel anything. Even when you're like, it's been 45 years. Okay. So that is really frustrating in that aspect. And I don't like her or Taniel being used as a plot device, stinking dagger. And then what makes me even more frustrated is she volunteers Taniel after everything that he's been through because of him.
Yeah.
You fought so hard for him not to find the daggers, for them not to bring up Pennywise, and then you just turn around. Here's the dagger. Here's my only begotten nephew, who is like a son to me. Don't die. He doesn't have any training in this, unless that was the whole scene that we missed with Taniel, where they trained them when they were young. You tell them the stories, but did they get training? He can't fight Pennywise. What happens if he drops the dagger? Penny gonna be like, aha. I don't understand that whole sequence of events. I thought it was terrible. I think it was just used to move the story around. And so that is kind of my opinion there, where they dropped the ball. Do you even like the fact that they used Taniel as a plot device? Like, here's his collarbone.
I don't mind it. Hopefully that's an opportunity for him to build up as a character for some reason. I don't know if he has a connection to any of the Stephen King universe stuff yet, but maybe that's what they're leaning towards, or I don't know. But it was still nice. I didn't mind it at all. What confused me, the only thing that confused me was after he ran off from the military in the sewers, he decided to throw the shard like in the water somewhere, and I didn't know what it was. Like I rewound it twice, and I'm just like, what is he putting in the water? It wasn't very clear what it was, but I was like, oh well, the only thing I could think of is the knife, so I assume that's what it is. But they really weren't clear on like what he threw in the water. So it's just like, okay, why did he do that? Was he trying to hide it? And even if he was trying to hide it, why would you put it in like rapidly running water where it could just be whisked away somewhere? Like, did you mean to just throw it away? Did you mean for it to get lost? Because you damn sure wasn't going to find it in that water. Because first of all, it's dark and muddy. You don't know where you're at. You're running off. The water's just whooshing everywhere. That none of that made sense to me. Obviously, it's again convenient writing because we know where it ends up, and Pennywise looked pissed as hell when he found it. But that whole scene right there really confused me. So I wanted to know more.
I completely agree. I wasn't as confused because I was like, oh, he's gonna either come back for it. He knows where it's at, or maybe he's like spiritually connected to it, so he'll be all right. With that situation. So yeah, that didn't bother me so much. With that, but we do know that what bothered me more than anything was Hank. The bus overturned. Cool.
Oh, yeah.
We expect that was Penny is a very busy creature. How is he able to be at all these places at once? So is he omnipresent? I don't.
Yeah, it's been very much established. Yeah, he is. He can be in multiple places at once.
He is. Then how do you defeat someone like that? Because that's just raggedy. But yeah, so basically he's omnipresent. He overturned the Shawshank bus, so no Shawshank redemption for us, unless this is his redemption. And he then went to his white woman. Child. So, what did you think about that entire? We don't see the bus crash. We learn about it through the telephone conversation that it happened. But we do know that Ingrid is the white lady who we saw in the beginning, kind of comforting Lily, and was the only like adult that was like, I understand, I'm here. I like chocolate men. So I mean, it's okay. She's the white woman who was there to attack. She has the ability to save his life. She never spoke up. And yes, you can understand it's 1950s, so I'm not exactly mad at her about why she didn't speak up. It's a very complex situation, but the fact that she did contact Charlotte makes me know that she does care about his safety. So I'm okay with that. I like that little how Charlotte is now, being a part of this even more so, where she is now harboring a fugitive, or she knows the information, because that's exactly what a freedom fighter would do. You would fight that freedom. And Ingrid, I think, is aware and does know. And then so to me, it helped develop that character. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just some random white lady that you slept with that night. Yeah. She cares about him.
She does
so it establishes care. She does care and establishes that relationship way much better than Rose and Shaw. So I like that we got a bit of that information. So then now we're basically in the water, and this whole entire sequence in the water I thought was very well done. I thought was greatly lit, because usually when you get those dark scenes, you gotta start pressing the contrast and brightness button.
Yeah.
You know how that gets. It could get Game of Thrones. Oh, you don't watch Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones show.
Well, I don't watch the new Game of Thrones. I've seen the first, like,
so then you know the
first series. Yeah.
The biggest battle that occurred.
Yeah, I saw nothing. I saw nothing.
We saw nothing.
I saw nothing, Jon Snow.
We saw, and so basically we didn't get that. So thank you to the lighting department for that, because we actually saw some things. I believe I skipped the whole box situation before. Should I touch about the box?
Well, I mean, the sewer stuff happens first, and then it touches on
the box.
Yeah.
So then the sewer system. How did you like the fact of Pennywise played them all with that sewer system?
That was great. Like I said before, I was actually fooled, because I thought it was just a typical trope. Oh, one of the kids survived. They're going to go and help out and yada, yada. The kids stop the evil or whatever. But yeah, like as soon as they start seeing the bodies. All right, actually, you know what? Let me touch on this first. That really, really bothered me, because it seems like as much as we praise the story so far, there's a lot of lazy writing in each episode. You can kind of pinpoint a lot of lazy writing. For example, like we mentioned, the the brush off of the crash of the bus, or the brush off of Shaw remembering 45 years of stuff so conveniently. Just little things like that. They still matter. So what bothered me was the kids had a plan. And the plan was to take those pills so they don't feel fear. And they take it just before they hit the sewer system. And we get a great funny moment where they're tripping on this stuff. It's great. It's a good scene. I love it. But what upsets me is that the plan already fails by the next scene right after that, because they already sobered up. And now all of a sudden they're seeing the dead bodies, and now they're feeling fear again. So it's like, you took 3 of these pills and you're tripping over it, and you're going to tell me that you already sobered up in the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes? Hell no. Especially for kids. Me being in the medical field, if you're overdosing as an adult and you're feeling this stuff, this could last you a couple hours. If you're overdosing as a child, this could last you a whole lot longer. So the fact that not even like 1 or 2 of them was still tripping or something while they were seeing these dead bodies, I was just like, this is stupid. What was the whole point? This is stupidly planned or written for you to have these kids take these things as a plan, only to have a comical scene, and then it means nothing afterwards. So that whole part really, really upset me. But after, you see the bodies and you see Matty kind of swirling around, I was like, oh, Pennywise could act. Pennywise could it was covert for a while. Like, I get it now. And then you see his head opening up and you see him slowly transforming. I thought the graphics were great with this whole transformation, and then the actual reveal with like these weird like bright lines coming as soon as you see his face and stuff. It was all just perfectly done. It was great.
I didn't mind the pills situation because I had thought one of 2 things. I thought either it was a placebo that she was taking, or the fact that, when you're in a really sinuous situation and when you're intoxicated and you gotta quickly
Your
sober up.
adrenaline.
Well, the adrenaline, I thought the adrenaline overrode any kind of medication that you could take. Because to me, that seems like that's the most logical thing that can happen. So when these kids,
the adrenaline can pump the medication through your system a lot faster, but you're still gonna be tripping. You're still gonna be dealing with. I mean, maybe it's just me overanalyzing because it's a horror show. Maybe it's just I'm trying to be too realistic about it. But like, it would still dumb to introduce it as like a plan that would work, only for them to have a comical scene and then nothing else fall through with it.
The fact that nothing fell through was just bad writing. I can take the adrenaline rush with these kids. This is something that they're genuinely afraid. Their body kind of never really experienced. Also, then on top of that, they're trying to not be murdered. And they're thinking that their friend actually is now alive. So you have the endorphins of like, yay, he's alive, and you're happy, turning it to like, oh, we're in trouble. And we have to run for our lives. We're in a tunnel system with a sewer system, which makes it even worse. We can't see. We're hooting and hollering. So I thought that is what overrode the medication for me. But I will say, I did like the one little like 3-second, 10-second scene that we got to like, oh, I'm tripping.
Are you holding hands? Yes or no? Yes.
So to me, that was really cute. And it was a nice way of how they played up on things and their kids. So it was adorable to watch that happen. But for me, it was like, they sobered up quickly. And you would kind of too if the thing is start chasing after you.
Even if you were drunk, like let's say we were just talking alcohol here, like adrenaline, yes, can kick in and you could functionally try to escape or react in some way, but you're still also going to feel the effects of being drunk on top of that for quite a while. So it's like you'd still be stumbling. You'd still like not know what's real. It was like they never took the pills like at all.
But they were only anti-anxiety pills. It wasn't like, big, heavy sedation.
I agree. If they took one, I would 100% agree with the adrenaline argument. But they overdose with 3 for kids that have never taken them before. On top of that, because even if these kids had taken them periodically before, you can argue, okay, maybe they built a little bit of a tolerance to them. But like they just took up straight up 3, and they tripped like 5 minutes later.
It ran through the system that quickly. We don't know the milligrams. It was 2 milligrams. So from that scene, that's when we got the military and Halloran jumping into the water, which actually was a big sequence. And what's in the bags, as you would say. What was your thoughts on that? Because I love this. This to me was one of my favorite scenes that they did. And if you never watched any of the It movies, you would probably be lost.
Yeah,
you would not have understood that at all, because it was very important. See, this is why Dr. Sleep was important. People should have went to the theater to see
that. I didn't go to the theaters. I just waited till it was like on streaming, because I wasn't sure about the movie. It was getting really divisive reviews when it was out. I enjoyed it. I was confused at first, and it didn't click. Like the whole boxing didn't click until the grandfather actually opened the box. When he opened the box, it was almost like my memories flooded in, and I remembered the last 45 years. Like, so I remembered. I was just like, oh, it's that kind of reference. Okay, he's about to unlock Super Saiyan mode now. So I was happy that they're connecting a lot of that stuff. I'm really curious how they're going to connect more King lore in the next seasons, like, because we're going back in time. I'm wondering how they're going to touch on that. I mentioned that kind of before, because I was just like, I wonder how they're going to touch on the characters, if they're even going to touch that, or are we going to see brand new characters, which I would more prefer, because you don't have to have a connection to everything, but you could still have references and Easter eggs. You don't always have to connect this character was the father of that character, was the sister of that character, who married that character. Like, you don't need to do that. But anyways, I lost my train of thought there. But that whole dream sequence was really cool, and it opens up a lot for Halloran's potential now that the box is open.
And I like the fact that for people who don't know, you have to compartmentalize your fears and lock them away in a box, and that is to also keep it away from Pennywise. And Pennywise screaming.
What did they call it? The Gift?
It was probably.
Yeah, they don't call it The Shining. They call it The Gift.
Yes. So I did like that aspect, but I really do feel like you would have to really watch Dr. Sleep to fully understand the compartmentalizing aspect. So as I stated, I did like that part. The fact that he was shooting Grandpa was shooting Grandma in the leg, and then he just started cackling like Pennywise. Was so well done. And the other officers were like, "Where did he go?" And they're looking for him. And then that whole thing was a mess as well, because they got taken out easily. What was it? An Uncle Sam that came to them?
That was stupid. That was really dumb.
No, but their fear is like the army and like not living up to Uncle Sam. No, really.
That was a cheesy cartoon. Like, just, that was dumb. I didn't like that at all. It could have been anything else. He could have played on each individual fear or something like that. It was dumb. I didn't like it. I do like, though, that it's interesting that the soldiers, and including Hanlon, can be aware that they're in dangerous territory around Pennywise, and yet they can still get caught into something, because Hanlon is wide awake and aware of what's going on, and he just takes one step, and all of a sudden he's falling in an ocean of nothing. It's almost like Pennywise can get you that instantly, no matter whether you're aware or not, whether you're afraid or not. He can get you and start to mess with you afterwards.
That's why I say it reminds me so much of Freddy Krueger. When you're staying awake, you got the coffee, but people can sleep in those microseconds.
Yeah.
And that's how he gets you. And that's kind of what Penny reminded me of. You're so alert and you're so focused that just for 2 seconds, he can find a way to slip in. And he did. And I thought that was, hilarious and also sad. And it makes it unpredictable.
Yeah.
In a way. And that is what I did like about that. And then also when I go to Hanlon, the wife. She's like, Charlotte, what are you doing here? And he saw his wife, and he shot the wife, but it wasn't really his wife. And then the deadlights situation, which is like, oh, so even when you think you're killing that image, it's still like, I'm not dead. I'm gonna still get you because you stared at me. So I really liked that part. I thought it played really well, that whole fear aspect. I thought it was all just very well done with that. You didn't like the two dum-dums who got caught by Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam. But yeah, so I like that aspect. And then we got to, I don't know if I'm spoiling things. So after that,
this is practically a spoiler clap. Oh no, you already seen the never mind. Sorry, I forgot you saw the rest of the series. Yeah,
I can't be like, oh. And then Janet Jackson popped in. Wait, no, this is not a spoil thing. This was the sequence that literally made me stop and scream. Was when those boys started running, and then you saw Hanlon not realize what is real and what's not, and then his white friend is like, "Wait, I see them too." And he, in that split second, when a gun went off, and then the white guy is like, "Nah, see." That was, I thought, expertly done. Because he's like, Dad, and you just out with Charlotte. How did you feel about that sequence? Rest in peace to Paul.
Yeah, my heart was pumping. Actually, I was like, "Oh, he's gonna kill his own kid." And I would have. I don't know how I would have felt like if that actually happened. So just the fact that they could make you elicit that feeling, thankfully nothing happened, but the feeling of it alone was good. It was well done the way they did it. I didn't feel much of a connection. I don't know if like they were trying to have us have a connection with Paul for some reason. I didn't feel anything. Like, oh, I was like, great, he sacrificed himself, and I guess he's friends with Hanlon, but Hanlon. But I was just like, oh, okay, this dude died. He had such a dramatic ending, like him dying. He's just like, oh, I just want to rest. It was almost like something out of Tropic Thunder. It's just like, I just want to go to sleep. It's okay. And then he passes away. And I'm just like, am I is something wrong with me? Am I supposed to feel something? Because like, yeah, he's great that he sacrificed himself, but like this guy was like a third-rate character in this whole show. I didn't feel much of anything. So maybe it was just me.
I'm muted. It's completely you because he was a ride or die. Remember, he was the one who immediately jumped in when what was it? Hanlon got his behind beat. Not Hanlon. The
Halloran. Somebody black. The shining dude.
Okay, so when Hanlon got his behind beat, remember when they came in his room and they was dressed up in the mask? He was right there fighting.
Yeah.
So he has always kind of been like that ride or die. Where are we going? I'm gonna fight the injustice for you and with you. And to see him die, it was like, oh, that's really sad. Like he was willing to sacrifice himself so that his kids didn't die.
I get it, and I'm not knocking that whole scene at all. It's just the emotion they're trying to make me feel during his death itself didn't touch me at all. And I think it's just because like I didn't see enough of him, or he didn't talk enough. There wasn't much connection. You're right. Like, yes, he was there when Hanlon needed him in certain moments, but did they really get close to each other? Like, did they talk with each other? Did they go drinking together, have buddy moments and all this and that? They didn't have any of that. It was just like, oh, I'm gonna help Hanlon and I'm knock these guys out. Oh, I'm gonna help Hanlon. I'm gonna back up his opinion on something, and that's pretty much it. So that's the only reason why I didn't really feel anything, because it didn't feel like a friendship. It more just felt like he was just a tag along.
Ooh, called the white man. I do think that one of the kids should have died. I would have been joyous, because to me that ups the stakes even more. I'm all for the babies getting killed, which is why that first episode was like, yay!
Yeah.
It was brutal, it was unexpected, but it brought me so much joy. Stop making just because you're the kids, we can't touch you.
I think you're right. They since the first episode was maybe just made for shock value purposes and to kind of get the story rolling. But I do feel like they're playing it safe a little bit. It's a lot. It's actually very much a lot like Stranger Things when it comes to the writers, the Duffer Brothers and everybody. They play it way too safe. There's none of the main characters die. Like we get characters that die, but we get characters that have only been introduced for like, the first season or maybe half the season or whatever it might be, and then they end up dying afterwards. But the main characters already seem like they're safe. And I think you're right. This could have been a moment where you felt like nobody's safe and another kid dies.
Yep. And the fact that it was done. See, this is what also goes back to, well, we know we can't write and kill off certain people because it connects to the original movie. Oh, why is it that would have been? And see, this is what I would have loved, because what happened if, and this goes with age, because I would have loved if he killed his son. You can't kill a son because he ended up becoming the grandfather. That's what I heard about that. Because remember, he killed the son, and but like there was another son, and then that was the son that we got in the other Pennywise movie.
Yeah.
And that is why Grandpa was so angry and shooting sheep in the head.
Because he killed his first son. Yeah.
I could have been his boy. I hate when we write ourselves like that, because that would have been such a powerful moment. And it would have explained so many things that I can't say what I want to say, but just trust me that some things are not said. And so, yes, I would have loved that point. I would have loved if somebody of the other kids got killed, but it works more when it's your own kid. And so I was so upset about that situation. But now that he's alive, and the white guy was like, oh my God, I'm dying. Make it count, which I thought was very corny. I didn't like that line. So now we know he has purpose. He's going to make it count. And he was the only one who kind of mourned his friend, which made it kind of sad.
I got a question for you. Did you feel at all during the moment where Hanlon saw his wife, Charlotte? Did you feel so the scene was good, but I kind of got that Hanlon lost his character there for a second, because he looked like he was fearful. He looked like he was scared for a moment, but he's not supposed to, because they still touch on the fact that he can't feel fear because of his brain accident or whatever. Did you feel that at all? That like his character was just off, like he wasn't supposed to be afraid. He can react. He can react and be like, okay, my wife, what are you doing here? Or any of that sense. Sure. But like, he looked like he was scared. And it took me away from the fact that like you just ignored that part of the character for that moment. You're still muted.
Muted. Okay. No, am I muted? I'm not muted.
There you go.
I thought that, yes, they went to deep depth about how he cannot fear certain things, but I thought that when it was his kid involved, maybe that's another part of the brain. I am not a brain.
Well, no. Well, we're talking about his moment with his wife, though. Like,
his moment with his wife.
Yeah.
But we don't know how deep the fear is in terms of, can he not fear at all? Or is it like, I can feel feel fear, but I'm not going. But the way how the brain damage works is that I don't react a certain way.
I mean, that's the way they presented it, because when they touched on him getting jumped in the bunker, they were just like, you didn't feel anything. Like you weren't afraid at all. I saw you were analyzing things. You were looking for ways out. You were looking for ways to be safe. You were looking to preserve yourself, but you had no fear. That's the way that they had said it.
See, that also confused me because I thought that was a part of his training. Like, I don't know what you guys do in military stuff, but I'm always thinking that they purposely put you in certain tactics so that it doesn't break you.
Well,
Like if you're ever by
special
the
ops and
enemy.
stuff, they do that.
Yeah.
But this is also a
Right.
special mission that they're dealing with. But typically, that's not what they do in the military.
So I don't know. I was like, oh, well, maybe it was for all dramatic purposes that he just can't feel certain things because he was trained a certain way.
But that's
So
my point. That's my point, is that they have observed this and confirmed that he can't feel fear. He can analyze things in the situation to try to, be safe and come out alive, but he's not. It's like his adrenaline's not pumping, his heart rate's not going up, he's not feeling scared in any type of sense. So like, why all of a sudden does that change just because it's involving your wife now?
I'll view it as physicality versus emotion. I can beat you all up and maybe stab you, but you're not going to react because that is how you was trained. But once it comes to something that's actual personal, like your family, that is when you can start to feel things. So maybe I would just misunderstood how fear works in that aspect, because I thought that he was trained military wise where we can torture you, but this something as close as your family is what emotionally breaks you.
I don't know.
So
it still doesn't make
that's where
sense for me. Maybe I just read it wrong. Maybe like he wasn't showing fear, maybe, but I just kind of saw it that way. Maybe he was just analyzing things. I don't know. Maybe I
the
just read it
thing
wrong.
is, then he can't show emotion at all.
Well, no, he
can't.
has everything else. He has joy. He has humor. He has, he has everything else. He has anger. It's just fear is what they touch on, and fear is the main theme of this whole entire series. So
Yeah, but you don't want your wife dead, even in general, if you can't
but there's
feel
still a
what
difference
that feels like.
between, but that's what I'm saying though. The whole bunker scene establishes the fact that you don't have to have fear in order to survive, or at least for him in his case. He analyzed things and came out safe and alive because he analyzed things tactically, mentally, like just, I don't know how to say it, without any emotion whatsoever. So he didn't need fear. Fear is always believed to be a great motivator to stay alive, and it didn't seem like that's what he needed. So it showed that like he can do without fear because he can analyze things tactically or reasonably or rationally in other ways. He has every other emotion. They've already established that throughout the whole show, but it just bothered me a little bit that he was never afraid up until the part that he saw his wife. And again, maybe I just read it wrong. Maybe I just saw something that wasn't there.
Maybe it was him being jolted, because you really don't expect to see your wife down in the tunnels, and
Right.
then came the kids,
Right.
and then you can't differentiate between the two until the
Right.
white man is like, see him. So that's kind of what I felt. And also, you can make the argument that Charlotte was only there to serve as kind of the segue into the kids. Because if the Charlotte never existed with the kids, we would have really never got that big showdown.
Right.
It'd have been like, oh, let's up my baby, so we put down the gun.
Right.
But because he's second guessed with Charlotte, he's not going to second guess with the kids. Yeah. And the kids would have died.
Right.
So that's just also how I viewed it as well.
And then Whitney Houston's The Bodyguard scene happens, and
yeah, that works as well. But kind of after that, we get the whole sequence with Lily is in there they keep isolating this poor child by herself once again in the water. Penny's like, fresh meat. Then he goes to eat. And it just so happened, as you said conveniently, here comes the dagger.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like literally frozen in time.
Even that was
so
a creepy moment.
That was very creepy. I love I really have to give it up to the costume and the makeup department.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was fabulous. And I know you complain, oh my God, it's CGI. And I don't know
Well,
what it
no,
was.
but this was, that's the thing. That was I'm sure most of it. Well, definitely the Bill Skarsgård when you see him in regular Pennywise, I'm sure that's practical makeup and everything. But like, I don't know if maybe, and this is the great thing about it. I don't know if maybe when he had the whole big mouth thing with the deadlights and all that stuff, I don't know if that was CGI or if that was practical. I can't tell, and that's a sign of really good CGI. Huh?
You have to watch the after show. The after show breaks down that scene.
I don't want things. I want to watch them, but I want to watch them after the show's done. Like I don't want to keep kind of getting out of the show. You know what I mean? It's almost like when we talked about the whole "Is Kayfabe Dead" episode, when we talked about the Unreal show. It's like, I don't want to be taken out of the experience that I want to experience. So although I did see the preview for the first episode, because I didn't know there were previews, so I watched it. But now that I know that there's previews, or sorry, not previews, but like behind the scenes after every episode, I'm like, I can wait. I want to see it, but I want to finish the show first.
You gotta watch it because it's really good. And it explains what's practical.
So was it practical?
What's not practical.
Yeah.
It's practical.
It was great. It was great. You see, there's a difference between the practical and the CGI, and you just got to know how to work both properly. Even actually, honestly, even when Pennywise is hunting Lily in that tunnel, and he turns into like the pickle dad again, that CGI was still better than the original pickle dad scene. The CGI in the tunnel was better because it was darker. So you got to see more shadow. You got to see less detail. You just got to see more of a figure and everything. So like the CGI was played very well there. It's just the pickle dad in that scene in the grocery store. It was a very lit room, and it was like a ridiculous scene of him putting himself together with a bunch of jars and a bunch of body parts and stuff. So I was just like, oh, the CGI is kind of like subpar here.
Okay. I understand. Well, it improved greatly. And I think that the budget is used for the latter half. And I can't tell you why. But it comes across that they used it for the latter half of the season.
Probably. They were saving it all for Bill.
Basically. So things could probably improve in that aspect. But I liked the sequence. I thought it was very well done. And it was like, oh, no, she's going to. And then she's not. And I'm like, oh, okay. That's a bit weird. Touch you in the nose, boop, right there. That's from the boop then. But yeah, I like the fact that now we have clues to how to stop Pennywise. Because we're gonna think in prequels, so he's not really stopped, but we know how to stop him.
Yeah.
So maybe these set of kids won't die, and hopefully.
I wonder if they'll ever touch on the fact that he can never die regardless. Like he's an immortal being. So like if they stabbed him with that dagger, let's say on the last episode, he's still gonna come back. Even if they stabbed him in the heart in the movie, and the Losers Club beat him when they were adults, he's still gonna come back. Because he's immortal. That's just what the lore is. So I'm wondering if I'm
just wondering, that to me doesn't work in general.
I mean, it's no different. It's no different than like Freddy Krueger or Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees. Like they always seem to come back somehow. And granted, most of it is because they're cash cows. So you want to try to make some sort of sequel over and over and over as much as you can. So you come up with excuses. But the lore wise, Pennywise is an immortal being from like some other dimension that we can't comprehend. So you can easily, the It movies, once the Losers Club finished them off, he's gonna come back again in 27 years, and there you got yourself another sequel. So we could potentially get a sequel to a movie that is like 40 years old, 50 years old, which would be great. I would love that.
That'd be interesting. So then, kind of after that entire sequence, where we're back at the base, and once again, Native Americans are blamed for everything by Shaw, which really taught me that all those 45 years meant nothing. I hate the writing on this show.
Right.
I hate this show. No one is learning or growing or even, and it's okay if you're not even like evolved with that. Then why include the 45 years? Because it just would have worked better if we would have never had the 45 years. And it's still, you could say, like, I offer up Daniel and not include the 45. I hate this writing. But yeah, so the indigenous people are being blamed. We're going to come after them for what they did to us. What? He let us down there and people died. So that whole situation happened. Nobody really cares. They have the same sentiment as you. Nobody cares about that little white boy, Paulie, who done died. They're like, oh, so sad he's dead. And the other guy, the black guy, is sitting up there crying, handling. Oh, my friend. Okay, move on. People die. So he has the same, basically, take as you with this entire situation. But more importantly, Dick is still in the tunnel, and he's out the tunnel. And also, what's out with Dick is that box is open.
Wide open.
Now,
wide open.
Wide open. Now all of his fears are out there in the wild, and we don't know what that means for Dick. Old Dickie's in trouble. So that is kind of like an interesting way to end it, where we have a cliffhanger at that. And now that his fears are there, Pennywise is like, hey, I'm not dead. And we see Paulie, he's seeing things. He's seeing dead people. And one of the things that I do remember when we're talking about The Shining, it was like how to stay focused.
Yeah.
And what happens when you're not focused mentally?
Danny starts seeing ghosts.
Danny started seeing things. So what is Dick gonna start seeing? And Dick is much older, so his ghosts are much longer than old Dan is. So that should be very interesting there. So I think it was a decent episode.
Yeah, I liked it. Very good.
I liked it very much. It was very good. Writing's terrible, but it's still good. It is watchable.
You see, this is how opinions should work, is that you can love things and hate things, but overall still enjoy it. This is so much of the internet is just like you either love it or you hate it, and that's it. Like there's nothing in between. That's what I hate about social media sometimes.
Well, today's generation has also been raised by nothing but social media, that I think rationalization and critical thinking no longer exists with them. So enjoy the future, kids. But yeah, I thought it was doable. It was exciting. And then of course we have the next episode, which he has not seen the previous tour, so he doesn't know anything. But it should be interesting with the next episode. And then it's only 8 episodes. So we're at the finish line almost.
What was this? 5?
This was 5. So we have 6, 7, and 8.
3 more? Okay.
3 more, and then that's dunsies. So is there anything that you're looking forward to when it comes to the next episode that you have not seen a preview for or don't even know?
I want to see more Bill Skarsgård. That's all I care about now.
I think that's all everybody cares about. It's like, where's Bill? Like, episode 1, scene 0 should have been like, where's Bill?
He does such a good job.
She's just waving high. So yeah, that'll be interesting. I will see. So I guess that's everything. So that has been our recap and our conversations and our discussions and thoughts when it came to Pennywise. See episode 5. He's already tired. He's bored of this.
Always.
So always, I have been your host, Dana. Oh, and I want to say we will have interviews with the black cast. But what had happened was that won't happen until after episode 7 because there's a lot of spoilers and things that pop off. And episode 7 is like, what did I just watch? And you did what? And he said, what? And she did what? And then what? So, yeah, that's when the interviews will happen. Like, oh, can I post them now? And they're like, we will kill you if you ever did that. Because it spoils just everything that happens. So, no.
That's fair.
We cannot have that. So, episode 7, we will have the Pennywise black cast. About what happened? The adult blacks, not the baby black. But still, we got to talk about it. So, I have been your host, Dana. Danny now knows what's in the box. So, that's all of that. And we will catch you next time. So have a great day, afternoon, evening, and thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and all whatever they say to do.